He has held prestigious research appointments at Harvard University, the University of California, Los Angeles, and Duke University, contributing extensively to the field of brain research.
In addition to his academic work, Dr. Bonelli is a well-known author and public speaker.
Several of his books in psychiatry and psychotherapy are become Spiegel bestsellers in Germany.
Today's speech topic is relationships.
Please welcome Raphael Bonelli.
Hello everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm, as you have heard, psychiatrist. And I do a lot of couples therapy, so I see couples every day, couples in trouble. And in my consultant room, I rarely meet people who are in love, who have romantic feelings. Those people who are on honeymoon, they don't have time to go to a psychiatrist. I, in fact, meet people whose feeling of being in love has faded. No romantic feelings anymore. This is the classical topic of my work. So when they come into my office and they say, "Doctor, I don't feel anymore. I don't feel anymore in front of my husband." And then I go through all the scientific work I've done and the therapies I've done, and then I say, "So what?" This is my answer. I will explain it in my talk because I say, "So what?" I say, "Keep cool." That's part of the story. Feelings come and go. Emotions wax and wane. They are never the same. And feelings, emotions, are not the basis for a decision. So if you don't feel anymore, wait. It would be dreadful if you have to check every morning when you wake up, do I feel something or don't I feel something? So this is not the basis for a decision. No one would be married after 10 years. But I tell you as a psychiatrist that a lot of people today are seeking good feelings. Good feeling, this is why they come to me as well. And they don't understand the difference between instant gratification, the gratification at the moment, the good feeling at the moment, and on the other side, the long-term fulfillment. This is also a feeling, but a very stable one, a long-term feeling, if you want to say it like that. You don't understand that the good feelings are the indirect side effect of a good life. And you can't intend good feelings directly. Good feelings are just a result of the right life. Ladies and gentlemen, life is not about good feelings. I can tell you, as a specialist on feelings. It's about good decisions, good actions, good habits, and good relationships. So when you get older and you look back on your life, you can say, that was a good life. That the long-term effect, this is the question. Life is about a constant search for the right values, for the good, the truth, and the beautiful, and about shaping one's whole participation on these values, ordering one's actions and one's habits on these values. This is what life is. What truly matters in life is not how we feel at the moment, but how we choose and what we do. And if we choose and if we do the right thing, our feelings will be at peace in the long run. So I don't say forget your feelings, but it's just wait, patience. Because emotions are very passive. Love is not a constant ecstasy. Believe me, immature people believe that. Love has to be ecstasy, has to be fantastic all the time. If it would be like that, love would be a drug. And some people use love like a drug, but they're only in love and they never get farther away from being in love, from romantic feelings. Love, like the human being in total, develops. It's far more than a feeling. But the feelings is the start. It's like a gateway drug, if you want. So if you have to fall in love and then the rest comes. So falling in love is okay. In the long run, permanent love is a decision. Love is a way of life. So I want to discuss with you the topic of love with a model of psychology, the 3 instances. I'm sure you have heard a lot about the 3 instances, especially Sigmund Freud spoke a lot about 3 instances. I use a much older system. I'm using the 3 instances of the belly or the gut feelings, the head of the reason or the mind, and the heart, the decision center of the person. So you can explain all the psychological phenomena with these 3 instances. This is very important. And if you divide love in these 3 parts, so you understand more about the human being. The love of the belly, of the gut feeling, is the eros. I will go through it in a few minutes. The love of the head is philia, the friendship. And the love of the heart is agape. We'll speak about that. Mother Teresa once said, love must hurt. Or love has to hurt. That's a very interesting quote. I was thinking a lot about it until I married. And then I understood. My wife and I, we have 6 children. All of them are boys. So, and when a little one in the night cries at 3 o'clock, for example, in the morning, and I get up and make him the bottle, just that he doesn't wake up his mother, to be honest, I don't have romantic feelings. Maybe you know the situation, but it doesn't feel good. Quite the opposite. But I know in this moment, this right now is love. But it doesn't feel like love. It is love. Love for my wife shows she can sleep and nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. Well, sometimes I just mention it in the morning, so I'm just a little bit weak. But anyway, normally nobody sees it. This is really love. But it's precisely there, in that hidden moment, that true love realizes. The real question is not, how can I fall in love again? How can I get back my romantic feelings? A lot of people ask me this question. The question is, how do we develop our love so that the love survives? How do we grow old together and stay happy together? This is the question. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, the deepest longing, or one of the deepest longings of the humans, is not the endless honeymoon, is remaining faithful together, growing old together. This is what I hear all the time from people when they really open themselves and speak about their deepest longings. So this is what people really want. And that is the art of loving. So let's go through these 3 parts of the person, the 3 instances, as psychology puts it, and let's understand how love works. So the gut feelings. The gut feelings are the emotions in general. They are very interesting, and so if we speak about marriage, we have to speak about the very biological part as well. The very biological part is the sex drive. For Sigmund Freud, this was the principle, libido. He called it libido. The principle of everything. Everything you think, everything you do in his world was libido. So the unconscious motivation for nearly everything. So this was his theory. We know today that he was wrong, but anyway, the whole psychiatry is full of these ideas. I would say the sex drive is something like the pre-love. It is a raw instinct attraction to the opposite sex for biological reasons. Species preservation. So if you don't feel attracted to the other sex and you don't get children, so humanity won't survive, that's clear. C.S. Lewis called it the Venus. So the gut, the sex drive, the Venus, is pure biology, and it seeks satisfaction. So this satisfaction is for me, this is the principle of the gut. The gut is very important, irrational, cannot think logical, irrational, unreasonable, immoral. This is what Sigmund Freud says, is driven, it is unconscious. Most of the parts is unconscious. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is not bad and not good. It's like that. We are built like that, we have that. We have that in common with the animals. But there is a big difference between the humans and the animals, because in humans, this sex drive must be guided. And as I'm a psychiatrist, I see a lot of people where this sex drive is not guided. And when it is not guided, we see people get lost in pornography, in prostitution, in affairs, in whatever, and they really get into big troubles. So this is very interesting, because I never saw an animal addicted to pornography. That's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, for me it's interesting. So unguided, we get a lot of problems. Only humans have to guide their gut feelings. So then the next step of the gut feelings is the personal attraction. So this is now the gut is concentrating on one person, and this is eros. This is what C.S. Lewis calls eros. Eros is concentrating on one special person. He dreams on the one and only, and he idealizes, he exaggerates the positive points of the person, of the woman. He doesn't see any problems, any negative problems. Romeo and Juliet, so it is not, I mean, it's very beautiful, it's very exciting, but it's sometimes not very rational. This is what you see. Eros is a form of magnetism between man and woman. And that's okay. But to be honest, sometimes it's a little bit stupid, to be honest. Just listen to people who are falling in love, and there is not much rational discussion about theirs. So maybe it's sometimes very childish, but beautiful. That's okay. Love has to develop, and this is the start, and that's okay like that. Then, in the gut feelings, there is another power, and this power is called Thanatos. Thanatos was coined by Sigmund Freud as well, and Thanatos is the death drive. Thanatos is the destroyer. Let's say he is the enemy of love. He is the antipathy. So I don't like you anymore. I don't feel something, or I feel the opposite. I don't like you. I have a lot of such patients, the envy, resentment, mistrust. So I don't trust you anymore. So I feel there is something wrong with you. This is Thanatos, the destroyer. He destroys the love. And this as well is part of human being. And so the magic is gone. With a lot of couples, that happens at one or another stage of their relationship. The strongest positive and negative feelings come from the same source. That's very interesting, from the gut feelings. So this is part of our human nature. Eros, you see, is not only the god of passion, but also the god of illusion. Because as Eros sees something ideal, then sometimes you're disappointed and say, no, she is not like that. It was an exaggeration. She is not like that. So what I want to present to you now is the 10 love killers, which were all coming out from the gut. The 10 love killers are the 10 topics where couples have the most conflicts. And the most important conflict I see in the psychiatric praxis are trivial things, idiotic things. You never could imagine to quarrel about that. The toothpaste, for example, or the towels, or the tone of the voice, car driving, something like that. She says, don't drive here, and he said, what do you want? And that's very interesting. So this is the number one. The number two is sex. For the one, it is too much, and for the other, it is too little or too difficult. So you can imagine who says what. I don't. This is another talk, so we can maybe in another year we can go into detail here. So children. Number 3 is children and parenting. Number 4 is the parents of the couple, especially the mother-in-law. So I see you understand me. Number 5 is money. But there is a lot to say about the mothers-in-law. This is a very interesting topic for a psychiatrist. Money, discussions about money. Number 6 is jealousness, infidelity, or suspected infidelity. There is a lot of interesting. So number 7 is job versus family. You're working too much, you don't earn enough money, or you have to work more or less. Number 8 is household duties. Number 9 is order versus chaos. One is chaotic and the other one is neurotic in order. So, and number 10 are very specific personal problems like alcohol, laziness, lies, pride, something like that. All that are causes. But the interesting thing is most of them come out of the gut feelings, especially when the conflict starts. The area of instincts, the side of irrational emotion, because the gut cannot think. So if you are full in your emotion, in the discussion with your husband and with your wife, you cannot distinguish, you cannot think, you cannot analyze, you cannot apologize, of course, because it's very clear, it feels like you're completely right. We don't think in the conflict, we don't think, you're different, maybe you're right. We don't think that. We don't think at all. We feel, I'm a victim. I'm a victim of this narcissistic person. I hear that all the time, narcissistic person. My husband, I wrote a book about narcissism. And when I wrote it, a lot of people came and said, yes, my husband at home, he's narcissistic. Nobody said, yes, this is me. Very interesting. I wrote a book about perfectionism, and all came and said, this is me, but narcissism, no one came. Only the married people came, as my husband is. So I feel as a victim of this narcissistic person. I have that every week in my consultant. The gut feelings feels, I am right and he is wrong or she is wrong. And then they come the famous word, you always do that and that, you never do that and that, always never, black and white. This is the principle of the gut, because the gut cannot think. You understand? So, what happens? The brain shuts off, the voice gets louder, and the distance grows. So, let's go into detail of this conflict. We have a stimulus response pattern here. Stimulus, something comes, which I don't like, and my response comes immediately. This is the problem of the conflict. Between stimulus and response, there is no time. No time to think. No need to think. So then the response, my response, is the stimulus for him or for her. So stimulus, response, stimulus, do you understand? And this is the problem of escalation. And all these 10 topics, you can take them, and this is the death of eros. We are still at the stage of emotion. This is the death of eros, because it doesn't feel beautiful, it doesn't feel fantastic, it feels the opposite. And this is when the people say, I don't feel anything more. So when couples come to see me at that point, they don't feel anything anymore, or they have antipathy. And then I have to tell them, they have to understand, they were not able to write their gut feelings. This is the problem. To write the gut feelings, because we have all gut feelings, and the gut feelings are positive and negative all the time. That's normal. And if we are not able to write the gut feelings properly, then we come to a real problem. We have to understand that we are not angels. I think angels don't have gut feelings. I'm not sure, because I never had an angel in therapy. But I think they have no gut feelings. They're also not in love. But they have no gut feelings, and they don't have a husband. But we are not angels. So we are human beings, and so we have to understand, okay, there is something in us. Because when our feelings fade, our positive, our romantic feelings fade, then the decision must begin. And this is the next step, the decision must begin. Eros cannot last forever. So we are in love, we have romantic feelings, and then something happens and we don't have those feelings. We don't have these feelings, and then a new program has to start. Better it starts in the beginning. When two people begin again to really see each other, not as opponents, but as gifts, Eros slowly breathes again. So the interesting thing in Eros is that he can disappear and can appear again, because, as I told you in the beginning, feelings wax and wane. They go and they come again. So it's like, and Viktor Frankl said something very beautiful. Between stimulus and response, we spoke about that, there is a space. So you have to find the space between stimulus and response. And he said, in that space lies our power to choose our response. So stimulus, and then I start thinking, how do I want to respond? My gut feeling says, no, you have to tell him that he is stupid, or her. And then I can decide. I can say, yes, my gut feelings say you're stupid. I feel it that you're stupid. You're a narcissist. Ha, you're a narcissist. And then he says, I'm not a narcissist. And said, all narcissists say they are not narcissists. So this is now clear. You are a narcissist. And then he says, you are a narcissist. Ah, all narcissists say that I'm a narcissist. Everything is clear. So, yeah, this is what I see as a psychiatrist. So, you can do that, or you can say, you can do it differently. And when my wife, who is with me, makes a talk on marriage, on this point, he always says to the women, you have to understand one rule: shut up. I would never say that to the women, but I just quote my wife, and she said, shut up. Shut up means don't say something in a moment, in the emotional moment. Don't say it. Wait. Wait until the emotions come down. And then you can speak. You have to speak, but you don't react like stimulus response. There is your freedom, and I'm still in the quote of Viktor Frankl. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, and this is true. The freedom is exactly in this short moment. And my wife, with the rule of shut up, gives the space of this moment a larger space. So it makes it more and more great, so you can really get down with your emotion and then start the system of thinking again. Because we have a second system, and the second system is, time is flying. The second system is the brain, the head, and the head is the antagonist of the emotions. Yeah? And this is very important, because we need it as human beings to have an antagonist, somebody, an instance, the second instance, who says, well, good, what the gut says is interesting, but it is false. It is not true. So, and the principle of this head is, or of this mind, is it has no emotions, it is analytic, and it is orientated toward long-term planning. The gut is short-term, the brain is long-term. This is the difference. So there are two principles. And if you have a relationship, the second form of love is the love of the brain, of the mind, the love of the mind, and this love of the mind is shared ideas, shared values, shared analysis, shared worldview, shared time, shared meaning. And for all this shared, you have to do one very important thing: speak. Speaking is really, and sharing time with each other, this is the great solution. So, to get back into this system of eros and philia, eros says, I want you, I need you. Eros is the needy love, it needs. Philia says, I seek to understand you. I try to understand, I want to understand you. Do you see the difference? This is something very different. So a lot of good couples say, my husband or my wife is my best friend. What a beautiful view. I mean, this is how we should do it. The American author Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand and then to be understood. First to understand and then to be understood. I know that he didn't work on couples therapy, but you can use that nearly every couples therapy. People come in and said, he doesn't understand me or she doesn't understand me. But in this situation, they don't try to understand the other person, and this is the clue. So philia is the great dialogue of marriage. It begins with two inner walls. Try to find a common language. And two inner walls who unite and create a better world together. The psychological background of philia is goodwill. The goodwill against the other person. Desire, and the will to do good to the other. This is friendship. Yeah? Being the best friend of the other. And here we come to the next topic of friendship, and this is the difference between man and woman. Because in this stage we know that men and women are very differently, they feel differently, they think differently, and this is very interesting and this is very important. And therefore, we can learn a lot from the other part, but only if we are open for it. So, what I suggest is to say, I am just a man, and therefore, I should let myself be taught by my wife. That's okay. Everybody would be okay with that. But now I'm very provocative. You can also say, I'm just a woman. Therefore, should let myself be taught by my husband. How is that? And that's good. So everybody should understand, so I am not absolute. So what I see is not absolute. There is another view, and this view is helpful for me. And the truth is in the middle. So we can learn from each other. It is not on competition. Competition is an error. Competition in marriage is an error. The solution is the completion between female and male, because the male and the female view is very different. And both are completely right in what they say and what they see, but sometimes you have to just, find a way between these two worlds, between Mars and Venus, as one said. Marriage is not a project of equality, it's a project of completion. And whoever understands that has understood philia. Philia lives in a fruitful tension between the I and the you. So there is a big philosophy on the I and on the you. So understanding that we are together a we. This is a philia is an attitude. Philia is an inner attitude which we have. It tries to understand always the other part. It tries to grasp with the mind. It tries to overcome the mistrust of the gut feelings, the thanatos. It tries to move from touch to speech, to the art of communication. So what I recommend as psychiatrists, be the best friend of your spouse, which means it is only possible if you spend time together, plenty of time, because friendship needs time. If you say, I have a friend in Australia, and when you meet him the last time, we have contact every 5 years, we don't talk with each other, we don't write. So I would say, no, this is not a friendship anymore, because friendship wanes if you don't have contact. But a lot of married people don't have much contact in daily life. So the art of dialogue, this is what we are working about. And a lot of couples come to me and they are not friends anymore. Or they never were friends, maybe. But the good news is you can learn to be friend. It is possible to be friend with everybody, but especially with your spouse. That's really fantastic. So friendship can be lost through neglect, through wrong priorities, through lack of time, sometimes also because of the children. So if you always care about the children, but you don't care about your spouse, so this can be a problem as well. So you're not friends anymore. But friendship can be rebuilt, especially if you have this attitude. You want to be the best friend of your spouse. Then you can rebuild the friendship. And you can rebuild friendship much more easily than eros. Because eros is an emotion, a feeling, so you can't influence feelings, but you can influence friendship, because friendship is an attitude. So when the couple learns to listen again, sometimes almost miraculously happens. Tension turns into curiosity, defeatedness into empathy. I often give couples a simple exercise. I say, look each other in the eyes, which is a really good exercise. Because some people say, well, what did you want? No, in the eyes of your wife. Yes, this is your wife. Yeah. Look at her. So look in her eyes and repeat what she said. And try to understand what she really said and try to put it in your own words. This exercise is very interesting, because some people are not able to do it. They always, in the third sentence, they are always in their own view. And I say, no, it's not on your view. I want to hear the view of your wife. So but then if you train it, then it gets better and better, and it works. It sounds simple, but it's a question of exercise. So we have to go from illusion to understanding. So illusion is eros, and understanding is the friendship, philia. Eros idealizes, it misunderstands the other person, and philia understands, because it uses the brain, and this is the beautiful. So the Greek philosophers saw in philia the core of the ethical life. That's very beautiful. They didn't think about marriage, but it is also, you can use it for marriage. For Aristotle, for example, friendship was not an emotion, but a virtue, a school of character. So you can see it like that. Being the best friend of your wife or of your husband, this is a virtue. So you can learn it. You can, if you do it every day, it's getting better and better. It is not genetic. So some people say, I'm like that, so I can't change. So yes, you can change. That's beautiful. Marriage is a school. It's a school for character. It teaches patience, self-control, forgiveness. Every argument is training ground for humility. Philia doesn't promise constant excitement. That's true. And it's sometimes people think this is boring because it's not so exciting like eros. But in fact, it's the more stable form of love. It is what make couples say after 30 years, we have seen everything and we still are here. Philia is the stage when love learns to think, and by thinking learns to endure. The deepest longing I'm now at the deepest longing. The deepest longing for human heart is devotion, to giving himself, the self-giving, the surrender, the offering oneself to someone and somebody worthy of it. And this is agape. Agape is the third form of love, the love of the heart. And this is, let's say, the most important part and the most provocative part, because a lot of people understand, everybody understands eros, and a lot of people understand philia, but agape is, let's say, it's a radical in a certain form. So if we say eros is the needy love, and philia is the reciprocal love, now agape is the giving love. Okay, eros, the love from the gut feelings, say, I need you or I want you. Then philia, the love from the mind, says, I want to understand you. And agape, the love of the heart, says, I give myself to you completely. And this is what a lot of people don't want to hear. But agape is the crown of the love. And at the same time, it's the greatest risk. So you should never start with agape. First of all, you should learn who is the person. I sometimes have patients in my practice which wanted to start with agape. They didn't know the other person, but they wanted to give themselves completely. But this is wrong. So if you really give yourself, you have agape builds on the other two loves. So those three loves are dependent on each other. Let's go to the heart. What is the heart? The heart has two advisors. The first advisor is the gut feelings, the emotions. They feel everything and they feel very clearly sometimes, and sometimes they are wrong. And on the other side, the mind, who is long-term thinking, short-term thinking. So there are completely different ways of understanding the world, the two advisors. And the two are natural antagonists. And only because the human being has two advisors, the heart is free. Do you understand that? So if the heart says to the brain or to the head, shut up. So it has only one advisor, so it can't decide. It's not free anymore. And a lot of people I see, they are not free anymore because they have stopped thinking, they have stopped their mind. They are just in their emotion. And if you're only in the emotion and don't think about emotions, then you're lost. So the principle of the heart is that it hears two opinions, the opinion of the emotions and the opinion of the mind, and then it can decide. And because of the two opinions, it is free. And it can decide freely. The heart is the decision center, therefore. So you don't decide with your mind, you don't decide with your gut normally, you decide with your heart. And in this decision center, our values are stored. So we find our values there. And in this heart, you can live the radical form of love. This is also a divine love, because giving myself to somebody completely, this is exactly what God did. So therefore it is a form of divine love. You don't think about myself anymore, but just giving to somebody else. Because this form of love is a decision. A decision, decision center in the heart. This form of love is a decision far beyond my own needs. A final decision, not only for the good times, but also for the bad times. And this is what many people today don't understand. So you can stay with your decision also if you don't feel well. And this decision gives the couple a very important stability. And therefore, the bad days and bad times can change to good days again. A lot of people who divorce, and I see a lot of them, they divorce too early. They don't wait until the bad times turn to good times again, because they don't have the principles in their heart. This is very interesting, very important. So if we live this form of love, we live a form of freedom. This is the real freedom of love, because it gives stability. Agape is not an emotion anymore. There's no rush. It is more than friendship. And agape is guided by my deepest values. So because I do it, because I really want to do it, because I see it is good and it is right. It begins where love becomes free from the tyranny of the emotion. Emotions are a lot of times tyranny. So the tyranny of emotion, free from the self-interest. This is what agape is. And free of the tyranny of their own needs. C.S. Lewis once put it like that. To love is the will, the good for the other, even when you gain nothing for it. So the forgetness. We say it in German, I think there's not an English word. But anyway, to forget oneself and just seeing the other person. This is what agape is. The attitude, this is my husband, this is my wife forever, no matter what happens, this is very strong. And this gives a lot of stability in it. So it's astonishing how many marriages heal at exactly that point. Not through advice, but just for the strong words, I forgive you and I stay as you are my husband or you are my wife. I saw a lot of problems in marriages and terrible problems of alcohol and affairs and everything. But in the end, if somebody says, okay, no, my value is like that, the marriage is holy, so I won't change that, then love survives. And the big enemy in this stage of the heart is narcissism. I already told you something about narcissism, but now I can tell you from the other side. The self-love, when somebody is in love with himself, also this is how Sigmund Freud put it, narcissism is when the eros is turned against the own person. This is how Sigmund Freud coins narcissism. Then love is not possible anymore. So it is true that we have to forget ourselves a little bit to understand what love is. Narcissism is ruthless self-love, being in love with oneself. It's turning eros inward. It's imprisonment of their own reflection. In the ego, in the I, the narcissist cannot truly meet another person as equal. And this is also friendship is not possible, because meeting the other person as equal, as man and woman, this is friendship, and this is not possible in narcissists. He doesn't want relationship, he wants admiration. He doesn't want a partner, he wants a fan club. He uses others as steps toward his own success. Each of us carries a little bit of this narcissism. And this is very important. The narcissists are not only the others, because everybody has to find his own narcissism. Where is my narcissism? And then fight against it. It's called pride. And throughout our lives, we must fight against our pride, so that our gaze can turn outwards, so that we are able to love in friendship and we are able to love in agape. agape is not the love that takes, it is the love that gives. So, and now for living the right form of agape, we need a hierarchy of love in our heart. So what is the most important love, and how do we get this love? Well, to be honest, the number one is God in the heart. Must be like that. I tell you that as a psychiatrist. The number two is the spouse. And the number three are the children, and not the other way around. Not children and then the spouse. Also, God, husband, children. Okay? For the women. And then there is a big gap. And then the parents come. And the parents-in-law on the same stage. And for the man, also your mommy is not number one, she's number 4, okay? And then siblings-in-law and the rest. Okay, there is, and this is very important, this form of hierarchy. And I'm thinking a lot about my patients who are not religious. What should I say with them? Because the whole system doesn't work if the number one is the husband. Or the wife. It doesn't work, because you need something above. The husband must be the most important person on earth, but you need a principle which is more important. It does not work. And why? I was thinking a lot about why doesn't it work, but it doesn't work anyway. You can only love your spouse your whole life if you love God more than your spouse. This is what I found out. Why is this so? Because no human being is God. And whoever expects salvation from the partner will be disappointed at one point. It's not possible. And eventually starts to despair him. And a lot of people, when they fall in love, they think, well, oh no, he's the best, and he's like a God, and he can make me happy. No. Agape turns love in the right order. He says, I love you not because you're perfect, but because you've been entrusted to me, because I have chosen you. I've promised to stay at your side. And that promise I will not take away. If marriage becomes the highest thing, it loses its center, because the center is God, or a principle which is higher than a marriage. Only when God is in the middle can man and woman stand beside each other. This is what I see as a psychiatrist. And in the other direction, I think this is very clear, but to say it very clearly, if you feel that your child is more important than your husband, then this is completely wrong. And you will get in terrible troubles in your marriage. And this is a mistake, especially in Vienna. We have a lot of problems in this area. And this is what I say to my patients. The greatest gift you can give to your children, especially to your single child, is that you remain with your husband the most important person on earth. Your husband is the most important, and you include your child in this love, but not exclude the other way around. So the husband can stay with mother and child if he obeys. So this is the wrong direction. So let me conclude. We have these 3 forms of love in the 3 instances, and all of these loves are important. And they fit together, and Eros brings the passion, Philia brings understanding, Agape brings dedication. And in lasting marriages, they profit from each other, so all of them are important. Ideally, all three are present at the same time, ideally. But if one must fade, Eros is the one who can live without most easily. So, and this is the so what in the beginning of my talk. So, if one of the three can miss, so Eros is okay, because Eros is missing sometimes, it comes again, and it's missing wieder, and it comes again. But the friendship and the dedication, they should stay stable all lifelong. Viktor Frankl used the word self-transcendence to understand how the human being is made. And he said, this is the capacity to go beyond oneself to somebody or something greater than oneself. And so love becomes the place where human touches the divine. The agape is a form of self-transcendence, looking out for the good, the true, and the beautiful. So it means that love, when people in the end come to me and they are old and they're still together, and then they say, we've been through everything, and we're still standing side by side. That's no coincidence. It's not just happened like that. That means that love has survived the death of Eros, because the death of Eros sometimes happens, but they have survived it with the other loves, and they have survived the inner Thanatos. The Thanatos is the destroyer, and they have survived it. They have matured into agape. Love in the end is not the art of feeling more, of feeling good, but the art of becoming more human. And so, become more human means recognize one thing. We are all vulnerable. Only in the mature love can we transcend our weaknesses. We complete and are completed by our better half. Or in your own words, I take you to be my ready husband and wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, in good times and in bad times, for richer, for poorer, for sickness, for health, to love and to cherish until death does us apart. This is everything said. Thank you for your attention.